Hello everyone, I'm Valentina and I create trees. Did you know that what I just said is the first line of the Lorax movie? Well, today I'm going to talk about some interesting facts and ideas from this story. First of all, the Lorax started as a children's book written by Dr. Seuss, and his story follows a young boy named Ted who is in love with a girl named Audrey. She really loves the nature, especially the trees, but the problem is that in their city, in Needville, there are no trees at all. Ted, trying to impress her, decides to look for a real tree. To do that, he visits the only person who knows what happened to them, the Wantler, who lives in the outside of the city, alone in a strange house surrounded by traps in a place where the trees used to grow. Ted thinks he will just get a tree and leave, but instead the Wantler tells him the whole story of what happened to them. When their Wantler was young, he found a beautiful forest full of chafas trees. He started cutting them down to make a new product called denle. The Lorax, who speaks for the trees, warned him to stop, but the Wantler didn't listen because his product became very popular and he wanted more money. At the end, he cut down every single tree. The forest disappeared, the air and water became polluted, and all of the animals have to leave their homes. At the end of the story, the Wantler gives Ted the last chafas seed. He hopes that Ted will plant it and help bring nature back. Ted accepts the seed, and now he understands how important trees really are. He decides to change things in Needville and help people realize that there is no good life without real nature. And that is how the change begins. Now, the theories I'm about to teach you are based on different analyses and interpretations from the internet. The most of them are different from each other and have no relation between. But first, let me change this. This theory says that the history not only talks about the past, but it's a warning about the future. Fans believe that the world of the film could represent what will happen if humanity continues to destroy forests and pollute the planet. Needville will be an example of a world where nature disappeared. Some fans think that the Lorax is not a real character, but is the conscience of the Wantler. According to this theory, the Lorax appears every time the Wantler makes decisions that harm to nature. It will be a symbolic representation of his inner voice, telling him that what he's doing is wrong. Another theory says that Needville represents a consumerist and artificial society. In the city, trees are made of plastic, the air is sold in bottles, and all of this began for a useless invention that everyone thinks they need. Everything is artificial. Fans believe that this shows a possible future where people depend completely on products and companies to survive. This theory is one of the most rare because how this can happen? Well, the history explains that the gods used to transform into a human body to procreate, and this theory says that she might be the descendants of the Lorax, or even himself, because they both have the same eye and hair color, and she's the only young person in Needville who knows how the chafas trees look like. As you can see, Ted and the Wantler are very alike, and maybe it's just because of the type of drawing, but the fan says that Ted might be his grandson because he was in a romantic relationship with Grandma Norma, who told Ted who can explain him what happened with the trees, and she even knew how to contact him. And also we can see a picture of the Wantler house that can be or not her. This explains that the real power of the Lorax was making the ones who damaged the trees always live on their grave. So actually Wantler didn't need food or anything because he was paying for his mistakes. This theory is the most interesting for me because it connects with the last and next one. Well, he couldn't go outside his house because it was like a prison, so even if he wanted to, he would never do that because he needed a third and interested lot to report the damage that he'd done in the past. So even if Ted started because of his own and selfish reasons, at the end he was really interested. He was angry at the society for letting that happen, and he decided to change the city where he lived in. So, in the exact moment where the seed was planted, the one slayer was free of the grave he was in. These are the theories around the internet. I hope you enjoy, and remember, only someone like you cares a whole awful nothing is going to get better. It's not. Dr. Seuss.
Nah, I say let it die. Let it die, let it die, let it shrivel up and come on, who's with me, huh?